Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is Shimeles Gebremichael with UMD News Update. We invite you all to stay with us. UMD immensely works in understanding, measuring, and doing matters. And in its news package commencing today, always asks the 5 W's and 8 questions. And rest assured that the information we provide are balanced, factual, and truthful. In the headlines today, Tigray Regional Council issued a 12-point resolution on genocidal acts over 14 months against its people. Media outlets report that the conversation between Biden and Abiy is a boilerplate. UN announces $17 million for immediate drought response in Somalia. And now the news in detail. Tigray Regional Council issued a 12-point resolution on genocidal acts over 14 months against its people. The Tigray Regional State Council has issued a 12-point resolution pertaining to the genocidal and all other internationally recognized crimes against the people of Tigray over the last 14 months. This recent resolution, among other points, has recalled on the decision by the Tigray Regional State Administration of the withdrawal of the Tigray Defense Force, TDF, from the neighboring Amhara and Afar Regional State to give peace a chance. The statement has first recalled the 17-year of the armed struggle of the people of Tigray alongside other nations and nationalities in the country and the successful social, political, and economic gains over the subsequent 27 years thereafter. According to the statement, the incumbent government, alongside its allied forces, has been deliberately attacking the people of Tigray using its propaganda tools or communication warfare and the profiling of ethnic Tigrayans in the region and in the other parts of the country. Hence, all the transportation corridors heading to Tigray were intentionally blocked. Ethnic Tigrayans were expelled from their respective jobs. Most were killed and jailed, while ethnic profiling and hate rhetoric dominated the airwaves of the Ethiopian media landscapes since 2018 in an effort to execute these atrocious and cruel acts. The statement further noted that civil and religious institutions intentionally orchestrated the genocidal and other acts, while foreign forces were invited to be part of these multifaceted misconducts against the people of Tigray. Despite some measures taken by the international community, including some sanctions against the government of Ethiopia and Eritrea, they are incompatible when viewed in line with the mayhems committed against the people of Tigray. It was with these and other backgrounds that the statement has outlined 12 points, among other things relating to A, the importance of the withdrawal of all invading forces from the Tigray region, B, the recognition of the pulling away of the Tigray forces or Tigray Defense Force from the neighboring Afar and Amhara regional states to give peace a chance, and C, the importance of continuing multi-dimensional struggles alongside other nations and nationalities in Ethiopia to bring a lasting solution to the current crisis in Tigray in particular and Ethiopia in general. Media outlets report that the conversation between President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is a boilerplate. Following an interaction between US President Joe Biden and Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on January 10, 2022, some media outlets are accusing the former of giving green light to the genocide in Tigray. According to an online news source, 1945, though both leaders underscored the importance of US-Ethiopia relationship, the potential to strengthen cooperation on a range of issues, and the need for concrete progress to resolve the conflict, their talk added no significant value to address the ongoing crisis in the country. White House failed to mention that Abiy's cosmetic softening comes against the backdrop of increased Eritrean meddling, Eritrea's turn towards China, and Ethiopia's use of Emirati, Chinese, Iranian, Israeli, and Turkish drones in Tigray at a time when Abiy postures on peace, this news source added. While Biden raised concern about airstrikes, the Ethiopian leader ordered an airstrike on a displaced persons camp that killed at least 57 civilians and injured more than 100 more, including dozens of children. The writer of the news piece, Dr. Michael Rubin, further elaborated that President Biden ignored Abiy's blockade of the Ethiopia's Tigray region, where millions of people now face starvation because of Abiy's desire for collection punishment against an ethnic group, while he lauded Abiy for releasing a handful of political prisoners. By whitewashing Abiy's actions and promising sentence ties, White House effectively signaled no consequence for Abiy's continued pursuit of genocide, the writer concluded. It is to be recalled that different regional, continental, and international organizations, including Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and the World Health Organization, WHO, are also raising their concerns on the alarming humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. Meanwhile, other media outlets are reporting that President Joe Biden discussed ways to accelerating dialogue towards a negotiated ceasefire, the urgency of importing humanitarian access across Ethiopia, and the need to address the humanitarian rights concerns of all affected Ethiopians, including concerns about detentions of Ethiopians under the state of emergency. In addition, President Biden expressed concerns that the ongoing hostilities, including recent airstrikes, continue to cause civilian casualties and suffering, and he reaffirmed the U.S. commitment to work alongside the African Union and regional partners to help Ethiopians peacefully resolve the conflict. In a similar development, on Monday, January 10, 2022, an airstrike in the town of Mais Abrin, Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray, killed at least 17 people, two aid workers told Reuters, citing local authorities and eyewitnesses that most of the victims were women, including among the wounded dozens. Reuters also recalled 3 days prior, on Friday, January 7, 2022, an airstrike killed 57 people and injured 30, including children, in a camp for displaced people in a different location in Tigray. Ethiopian government spokesperson Legesse Tulu did not respond to the request for comment on the Mais Abri strike. Military spokesperson Colonel Getnet Adana referred Reuters to Legacy. This news agency also recalled that thousands of civilians have been killed and millions displaced by the conflict, while hundreds of thousands are facing famine-like conditions in the region and beyond, according to a document prepared by aid agencies and shared with Reuters last week. Before the two latest strikes, at least 146 people had been killed and 213 injured in airstrikes in Tigray since October 18, 2021. The released opposition party leaders are released opposition parties and leaders are expressing views on the ongoing politics. Recently released or freed opposition political leaders and parties are expressing their views on the ongoing and upcoming political arrangements of the Ethiopian politics. One of the political parties in the Oromia regional state, the Oromo Federalist Congress, OFC, lately calls on all parties to seek a peaceful and negotiated resolution to the ongoing wars, particularly in Oromia, Benishangul Gumuz, and Tigray regional states. In the statement issued recently, the party has commended the gesture by the government, saying it will pave a way to a small window of opportunity to prevent further destruction, restore peace through reconciliation, and rebuild the country. The statement also called upon all warring groups to safeguard the safety and protection of civilians, property, and infrastructure until a negotiated comprehensive ceasefire is achieved. According to the press release, all internal and external actors have to also immediately immensely work on ways and means of the unconditional release of its supporters to avoid hate and war as a means of resolving the complex situation in Ethiopia. The statement rather stressed on the importance of focusing on serious and genuine negotiation and dialogue among the nations and nationalities of the country to bring a lasting peace and mutually advantageous coexistence. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian journalist, blogger, and founder of the Balderas for Genuine Democracy Party, Iskender Nega, where some criticized him of his quick comment on the political skirmishes in the country while he was in prison, has expressed his intention to participate in a national dialogue. After more than a year in prison, the 52-year-old opposition leader who recovered his freedom last Friday is ready to take part in a national dialogue process. AFP quoted Iskender as saying that he will be part of it if there is a dialogue. Iskender Nega had been imprisoned in maximum security prison in Addis Ababa following his participation in protests that took place in the capital followed the murder of a popular Oromo singer, Hachalu Hundesa. Moving to East African news or other East African country news. UN announces $17 million for immediate drought response in Somalia. Somalia is now facing its third consecutive failed rainy season for the first time in over 30 years. On the front line of climate change, it is the country most severely affected by drought in Africa's Horn. OCHA quoted United Emergency Response Fund as saying that an estimated $3.2 million, OCHA quoted the United Emergency Response Fund as saying that an estimated 3.2 million people are experiencing the cumulative impacts of 3 consecutive below average rainy seasons. Recent predictions indicate that drought could displace up to 1.4 million Somalis in the coming 6 months. Without a scale up in assistance, some 3.8 million people, including those affected by drought, are projected to face crisis or worse levels of food insecurity rising to 4.6 million people by May this year. According to this news source, widespread livestock days are already being reported, and food, water, and fuel prices are rapidly increasing. The news further indicated that crop production in January is projected to be 50 to 70% below the last 10 years average. To meet the immediate needs of drought-affected communities, the UN released $17 million from the Central Emergency Response Fund, CERF, bringing CERF funding for Somalia in 2021 to $52 million. This is in addition to the nearly $60 million provided by donors to the Somalia Humanitarian Fund, a multi-donor country-based pooled funding mechanism. UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths said the lives of people in Somalia are on the line and have no time to lose. To help avert another humanitarian catastrophe, the new CERF allocation will enable humanitarian to immediately scale up critical operations. I count on other donors to follow this lead and support the Somali Humanitarian Fund to help people protect themselves from defending or deepening hunger and poverty, the chief added. Meanwhile, the representation mission of Qatar Red Crescent Society, QRCS, in Somalia is operating the Lofole Health Center in Lofole, Lower Shabelle, for the benefits of 30,000 internally displaced persons, or IDPs, and returnees. Our news source, Gulf Times, state that a total cost of Qatari Riyal QR 396,266 is intended for a project on providing primary health care and reproductive health services for the people of Lefole and neighboring areas of southern Somalia. Similarly, AFDB provides 14 million grant to boost food security in South Sudan. The African Development Bank, AFDB, on Monday announced a $14 million grant to boost food security, value addition, and trade in southern Sudan. The financial institution's country manager for South Sudan, Benedict Kunu, said the 5-year project would be implemented by the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, FAO, in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Sudan Tribune quoted Kanu as saying that the project would help increase the production and income of almost 20,000 farming families, Central and Eastern Equatoria and Jungili states. And finally, Sovereign Council calls to involve African Union, Sudan's UN facilitated process. Sudan's military-led Transitional Sovereign Council welcomed the UN initiative for comprehensive dialogue and called to involve the African Union in the process. Sudan Tribune reported that the Sovereign Council recently held the regular meeting to discuss, among others, the UN initiative for an intra-Sudanese dialogue announced on Saturday, January 8, 2022. The Council called to involve the African Union to support the initiative and contribute to the success of the Sudanese dialogue, which should remain a Sudanese-led process, said a statement issued after the meeting. It is to be recalled that the African Union has suspended Sudan's membership immediately after the military takeover, which breached the AU, brokered transitional declaration signed on August 17, 2019. Before we finalize our news packet today, here are some OCHA'S North Ethiopia humanitarian update. Dozens of civilians reportedly killed in Tigray due to a series of airstrikes during this last week. There are emergency health kits, limited medical supplies, and core relief items provided to Sehul Hospital in Shire of the Tigray regional state to the people injured by the airstrike on 7th January. All humanitarian convoys to Tigray region via the Afar Ab'ala Mekala corridor remain suspended since 14th December due to ongoing clashes and insecurity in Ab'ala. More than 47,000 people, of whom 51% are women and girls, received emergency shelter and non-food items in Amhara during the reporting week. As of 3 January, about 330,000 people, or about 62% of the 534,000 targeted population, reached with food assistance under the current food distribution in Afar. Well, with that, we come to the end of our news package for today. This has been Shimeles Gebremichael here at UMD Media. Thank you for watching, and until we see you next time, we request you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and have a good one.